Hello everybody. In this video I'm going to show you how I have mounted the servo motor in the front of the racer. I will show you in a second part of the video how I have mounted the motor in the rear end here. So the first step is that we're going to modify the steering box up here in order to fit the servo motor in. So the first step we want to do is we want to build, this is closely like the instructions but slightly modified. Just pretty much do what I've got here, and these are just 3 studs long with a perpendicular, just to add some support to a shaft that you'll see here momentarily. So I'm just going to finish building this up. And that's what it should look like complete. Now from here, we'll take the servo motor and use a number 4. You want to make sure you are aligned. Stick the number 4 in. And here I have used a number 8, I believe. I'll double check that. Yes, number 8, and just stick it in the back side. Now you're going to notice that when the steering moves inside that it's actually backwards, but it moves, so I'm okay with it. So just take this and just stick the shaft on through, and then we want to take one of these, stick it on, and then stick the steering. Okay, so that's the first step. Now we want to install this into the car. First step is we want to actually fit this into the same mounting point right here. So straighten out your steering. Take your cord, I wrap it around like this. Stick the steering in and pop on the suspension. There we go. Straight ahead, straight ahead. Okay. So now we want to add some support here. And what I've got here is one stud that will actually fit into here. So what we want to do is we want to build a second one of these. We want to build these for either side. Now what we're going to do is a stud. Okay. This is just going to slide on like so. Grabbing that point right there. Straighten out. You'll see it straighten out in a second. I'm going to go over and do the other side. Oops. Put it on the other way. So that gets that part on. So far, that's the steering mechanism. And we will install the front end here to tighten everything up. Springs are actually pretty taut right there. So that straightens everything out just about. And we will install the other side. Tightens that up. Okay. Now we will actually put the sides of the cockpit back on. And then we are going to be, this is one other modification I have made, because when you go to stick these on, it's the motor, these bottom pieces, because this piece is actually different right here. That piece we'll have to add on. But because we add that piece on to add some rigidity in here, because the structure that was originally here with the gearbox added most of the rigidity. So in order to do that, and then we were adding these pieces on. And then you put the frame back on, the cover. You can see I bumped it out right here a little bit. You just fit it in the holes. And you'll notice that this ends up being 2 studs wider, but that should be okay. We actually take that back off. We need to fix this. So that's one side. You can actually put the mirror back on. Now we do the other side here. Now we're just going to do the same exact thing we did on the other side. Going to take this and stick it back in. Of course, I stick it in wrong. There we go. Push that piece back up in. Now here we're going to do like so. And we're going to stick this back on. I don't think it detracts from the front end too much. Put the mirror back on. So that is how I have added the servo motor. You'll actually have to use power here, and I ended up using an extension piece to be able to get up to the receiver. So that's part 1 of the video to show you how I have installed the servo motor. And the pieces for the servo motor is obviously the servo motor, a number 4, a number 8, and we got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Got an 11-piece white. And then another piece that I was using that's new is this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Oh, an 11-piece red down here to match in on either side. And there's probably some random little connections here and there that I've used. But as far as I can remember, that's what I've done differently for the steering. And you will notice that the steering right here is going to turn opposite what actually would in a car, but I decided to mount it in here just to be able to keep that open cockpit feeling. You could take the servo motor and fit it down in here if you so choose, but I chose to keep an open cockpit. Okay, so that's part 1, and I'll be back here in a second to show you part 2 of installing the large motor for drive. Hello. In this second part of the video, I'm going to show you how to install the large motor into the back of the race car here. The first step to do is in order to maintain or increase the speed of the vehicle, we are going to want to, instead of using this large gear in the bottom here, we're going to want to switch it up and use a smaller gear up top. And to do that, just pull out these two blue pins and just pull it out and replace it. Now I'm just going to pop this back onto the lower support here. Okay. Now what we want to do is we want to, oops. I'll bring this back up and get this to sit back in right again. Now from here, we will look at the motor. Actually, I could put a couple more things back in. Sometimes we don't get the pop in the right first place. There we go. Beautiful. Okay, that stiffens that back up. Now let's look on the motor here a little bit. So on the motor, the main piece I can think of that I have added to the set would be another one of these frames right here, just to take it out one stud length in order to ensure a more solid connection for this motor. And the other part I would have used are these right here. I've added these on top just to space it out a little bit. And you just run the cord through to one side, just fold it over a little bit. On the other side, we will be using another one, and just the standard frame right here. And actually, these do not need to be here. Just get rid of those. So this will just set back up in here and come through. And we use the number 5, come out, come through. And I just used the little spacer and just use one of these T's so we can add some more stability on the bottom. And then we'll be using this gear. Switch it around. Now from here we want to fit this into slower proportion down here. So I'm just going to raise these up right here. Now the easiest way to do this is to have this removed, and then you can actually just set it in. So what I'm going to do is just pop it up like this. Put the top in and slide it over, and we will be using these number 7s, and I'm just going to lock the front end right here now. Just go in between the 2 exhaust pipes, push it in, push it all the way across, and set it. Okay, from here, we're going to lock in the back. And to do so here, we're just going to pull that out a little bit. I'm just going to drop that piece in and pop it onto the piece right there. Grab the other one, and you'll see that these gears are meshed well. We'll do the same thing right here. Drop. I gotta see here. There we go. Just pull it out a little bit. Do it again. There we go. Just set that in like so. Swing that back around. Now we will take that number 7 again, and we will run it through. Lock all that in. Okay. Next step here is we need to put this piece back in. That went right on top of here. And now we should work on getting the springs back together and installing that piece again. Hello. Now we need to finish attaching in the suspension components into the frame of this. Now we run into an issue of where, because we use the larger gear on the top here, you wouldn't run this into this issue if you use the standard way with the large gear on the bottom and small gear on top. But your car will go much slower. But I'm going to show you an option to using the larger gear on top. It will lower the suspension slightly, but I found it still functions appropriately. The first step is we will remove these. Set that to the side. We'll take a number 3. We'll pop it on top here. We'll take 2 black connectors, stick it inside the suspension, and then we were going to take a number 5 and we will stick that on all together. And that just brings out enough clearance just to get around the gear right here. Just enough. And it doesn't decrease the suspension travel too much. Now next step is to attach this in a little more tightly with right here. We will reuse one of those, and we will reuse this. I'm just going to take these 2 are additionals that I've added, and we're just going to connect it in like so. Push it through, connect the other piece in right here, and then we will require 1 black stud, and then another number 3 axle. And this piece will just go right here, drop down in. We'll just take a number 3 and stick it through like so. And that just makes it a little more rigid on top. So this piece can go into your bin. The next part right here is probably, I'm just going to reattach some hoses. Those are always fun. Like so. And the exhaust.